Hey traders, happy Saturday, or actually it's Sunday today, isn't it, Jace?
Hey,
And
it's your turn. It's your turn to
yeah,
get it right, Matt. It's Sunday, buddy.
well, I'm Matt. He's JC. We're with Empire Algorithmic Trading, and it is time for VWAPvision Stock Talk Weekly Review, where we're going to go over last week's action. Tell us a little about it, Jace.
It's where we just use the volume weighted average price, and that's it to analyze the market. It's the best indicator there is, and so like I always say, let's just get to it, shall we?
Let's do it.
Stock Talk Weekly Review Edition.
Do-do-do.
All right, heidi ho, Matt. It is Sunday, not Saturday. Sunday. Hope you're having
Yes.
a lovely day. I've been relatively productive. I got some grocery shopping in. I realized that I had no food,
Mm.
and I thought I went last week. I was like, no, wait, you were in Sawgrass last weekend. So, yeah, I got some grocery shopping in and had a good visit with my son, and did a lot of studying today. We're getting ready. We're still in a red zone, and the markets. Really, it's just chilling right now, right? There's a lot of stocks that have just found floors at their lower VWAPs. The market itself is kind of showing that same kind of pattern.
Yeah.
But all in all, we did see some breakouts throughout the week. Well, I shouldn't say breakouts. We saw some stocks start trending above their VWAPs. But when you look at them all, kind of overall, they're all deep in their bases still. Looking at some of the other stocks that are they're showing some strength. They're kind of not the great sectors, right? It's a lot of biotechs, a lot of pharmaceuticals, a lot of insurance. Pharmaceuticals and biotechs are notoriously volatile. They're kind of the riskier things. Just defensive plays in general, gold and insurance companies. So we're building watch lists, we're studying, we're looking at kind of seeing what's going to happen, getting ready for the next move, but we're just not there yet. So let's just take a
Right.
look at the charts, just to get an idea of where we're at and where we could possibly see. So
All
as
right.
always, I'm going to share my screen here.
I
And
love when you get these things pulled up. It makes me feel so like, I don't know, man. It's just awesome seeing how well you dissect this stuff. So I'm excited.
oh, thanks, dude. I appreciate that. So we're going to zoom out here a little bit. We've got the S&P
Yeah.
500. As you can see, we're in a correction, right? The market is kind of stopped a little bit, and we're stuck right in between. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. We're kind of trading right in between two VWAPs. We've got the lower VWAP, which is just above 5,500. That is the anchor. If we zoom back out from the December 23 high. So
Hmm.
that's a long-term anchor. It's not a surprise that we're finding support there. The market has found support at this point before in the past, but we are kind of running into a little bit of resistance. You got some resistance at the high from March 10th of 5705, as well as the upper VWAP, which is currently at around 5670. So we're kind of bubbling along on the upper range. The all-time high VWAP is sitting at about 5,800, which is where we're going to want to start living above before
Yeah.
we start getting excited. So it's constructive. It's nice to see the markets not continuing to sell off. It's also nice to see some volatility kind of chill out a little bit. We want to see some construction going on. We want to see some basing going on. We want to see stocks just chill, build a nice foundation, develop some resistance levels that kind of test those VWAPs, right? We want to get some clear resistance so we can then get some clear breakouts so we know the sellers are pretty much wore out. So we're not there yet. We're just early in that process. So now it's just time to sit back, wait, do some studying, like I said before. But as for now, it's just wait and see, right? This is it's the hardest part. This is the hardest thing, right? It's always easy to buy a stock. The hardest part is to sell it, and the hardest part is to not buy them as well. So
Right.
this is a difficult period. It's just time to it's where discipline comes to play. So we're not there yet, but it's looking better than it was a couple weeks ago. That's for sure.
Can I ask
Uh,
a real question there on that S&P 500?
Absolutely.
It does look like on Friday we saw a little above average volume. Can you comment on that a little bit and what that kind of shows you?
Oh, absolutely. It Friday was a it was either a triple witching or a quadruple witching of options. So what that means is futures were expiring, quarterly options were expiring, monthly options were expiring, and weekly options were expiring. Whenever options are expiring, pretty much the third Friday of every month, particularly at the end of the quarter, you're going to get a lot of volume because there's a lot of hedging going on. There's a lot of options being exercised. Market makers then have to buy shares. They have to sell shares. So you see a tremendous amount of volume, usually in the last couple of minutes. And if we bring up a 5 minute chart I'm going to bring up the SPY because it doesn't quite work on TC 2000. But you could see in the last 10 minutes, there's just these
Wow.
massive spikes in volume, particularly the last 5 minutes. It looks like there was 5.8 million shares traded on just the SPY
Wow.
ETF in the last 5 minutes. That's all options, right? That's all hedging. That's all built into the system. It doesn't mean there's new, fresh buying coming in. So you can kind of discount that trade a little bit. You can kind of discount that action. You want to see some follow through of that going into next week. But right now, that's just mechanics. That's just all
Right.
timing. So, however, when you look at the SPY, it technically finished down. So it does look like a distribution day, but it's kind of a mimic. So that's a little bit of how options can play games on the volume and the pricing. So
Yeah.
all in all, though, it was a pretty constructive session. I think that it opened up pretty down. It rallied, and then it rallied throughout the rest of the day. It was a pretty good session as far as that goes, but that's why you're seeing that increased volume, especially compared to the past 2.5 weeks, where the volume has just been declining pretty much every day since then.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that's kind of why there's not a lot of conviction on my part, and there's not a lot of conviction in the market as well. Otherwise, we would be seeing that volume. So
Yeah.
it's just par for the course. I think the we're in a kind of wait and see period. The president's talking about flexibility now with his tariffs. Like, what are we doing here, man? I mean, come on. We need to either do it or not. Set a plan, make it so we can have some visibility. All this back and forth, it's just uncertainty that doesn't play well with anybody. And then you have earnings that's going to start in earnest here in just a couple of weeks. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if we just see either. I mean, we're just going to be range bound. I mean, that's it. We'll probably see a test of the lows. I hope we see a test of the upper VWAP. That would be really good to see. It'd be nice to see some leading stocks kind of move up. But right now, we're just forming this left side. We want to see left, kind of a bottom, and then the right side. And when we zoom out, you can kind of see that play out a couple of times, especially in the last bear market, right? We've got this big, massive cup. That's when the market declines. It kind of finds a bottom, trades sideways for a little while, and then it starts moving up. And so that's what we want to see on an individual stock basis. It's just the stocks we're looking for will move a little bit faster than the market does. So that's just pretty much where we're at right now, man. It's just base building at this point.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Same thing with the small caps. Same thing. We've got an upper VWAP where the small caps are running into resistance. We still have the all-time high on this ETF. It's trading up over 220 for the all-time high, and the stock itself is at 203. So we got a pretty significant move in small caps
Yeah.
before we pass that last resistance. So if it does that, then you know there's buying going on. You know buyers are in control. It's just want to clear that last resistance because sometimes sellers are going to be like, hey, I've been waiting for this, just the stocks to get here so then I can unload my shares. And that's why we wait for the resistance to get cleared. So then you know that all those sellers are out. Now the buyers are in control. And that's when we get on board. And then same thing with the mid caps. Mid caps are just kind of trading sideways, a little bit of resistance, a little bit of support, but we're just going to be range bound here for a little bit. And then bonds. Bonds just had a nice, they're just starting to base out a little bit as well.
Mhm.
So it's good to see that. We did have some breakouts last week. I shouldn't say breakouts. We had some stocks trade up above their VWAP and flash some traditional buy signals. However, when you look at them, they're still pretty far deep into their bases. Newmont Corporation here flashed a buy signal. However, it's not rushing into new highs, right? This would be considered a very early potential breakout. Same thing with Guardant Health. Same thing with Bow. Actually, Bowhead Specialty is hitting new all-time highs. That's a pretty strong trade there. However, we're in a red zone. It did have a nice follow through, but it wouldn't surprise me at all to see this knocked back down. ADM Biologics. It's another biotech kind of company that we've been talking about that you just see this across the board. There's a ton of these that are showing some strength, but I don't think that's a positive thing. That's not the kind of stuff we don't want to see those be the leaders because they're extremely volatile, very news
Right.
driven. ADMA was a monster stock last year, and it very well could be again this year. When you zoom out a little bit, that's a pretty strong chart there. So nice to see that, but I'm scared of these stocks. These stocks are pretty hard to trade. They're hard to stomach, especially for someone who doesn't like a lot of volatility like I do.
Right.
And then Alliance Bernstein, traditional, just a mathematical buy signal there. But as you can see, it's still way down in its base. Its all-time high is up around here. What is that? 30 is about 56, and it's trading at 38 right now. So I like these patterns. These are really good. They're good long-term trade patterns. If the market was just hitting into a green zone and this stock was trading out, then this would be a good potential long-term setup. And what you do in this case, instead of doing like a trade, if you want to go like see if you can ride it up to that all-time high, then you would look at say below 35 where it set these lows here. That's where you would use your low. And so that would be your stop. You would position it. So if you did take that bigger stop, I think that's about what, 15, 20%. Yeah, it's about 10% lower. You position your account, your trade, so you can absorb that and not lose a significant amount of money. And then you can
Mm-hmm.
potentially ride that volatility out. Uh, Short-term trades, sometimes what the algorithm will do will just pick off those 7 to 10% moves that the stocks do. They'll usually break out, run up about 8 to 12%, and then they come back down and usually flash a sell signal. They'll test the
Mm-hmm.
the previous VWAP, and then they start moving higher again. So you could pick
Sure.
off those 5 and 10% moves. It's the real strong ones, the real good ones that will rally 20, 30, 50%, sometimes 70 or 80%. In a really good market, they'll double. They'll double or more. We just haven't seen anything really like that for a couple of months now, particularly since November, since the small caps and the mid caps have been selling off. It's been kind of a very challenging environment, particularly for swing traders. I'm looking back at some previous charts from last year, and I'm seeing these moves, and I'm kind of envious. Like, man, I wish I could go back in time and knew what I knew now, right? This is before I was learning all this, before I figured all this out. So, we're not there yet. It's just a matter of time. And when this thing goes, everything's gonna
Ooh,
go, right? And
yeah.
5% gains are gonna be a dime a dozen, and then we're gonna see 20% gainers relatively easy. So that's what we're waiting for. That's when we'll be able to make some significant money in our accounts, and we just got to have a good plan and the discipline to not blow ourselves up until then.
Right. Right.
All right, Heiko, it also flashed a buy signal last week. This is an interesting chart pattern. I kind of like these strong gaps. This would be a lot more exciting if we were in a stronger market. Of
Mm.
course, you could say that about anything. Anything's exciting in a stronger market, but that is just the case. This is also just kind of a fun pattern. I've seen this before. You've got a stock that's in a pretty good downtrend, and then a strong break and a strong gap higher, usually because of earnings, and that's exactly the case. But what's important is it flashed a sell signal. It's got 3 down days right here, which we use as a sell signal, and then it quickly flashed a buy signal, and that's almost always it's a pretty good setup right there. So I like that one. It would be a little bit more into it if we just didn't have the weight of the general market on top of it.
Right.
So
Right.
it might, it would be interesting to see if this can swim against the tide, but you're talking like a 30% probability at this point. So, but I do want to show, kind of look at what's happening in some leading stocks, some stocks that really rallied up and that have just sold off hard. Those are the ones we want to watch to see what's going to break out next. You want that nice, good run up, and then you want a really deep correction. I shouldn't say really deep. You want a nice, solid correction. You don't want anything that's like 50, 60%. But usually 30% is a good number, especially if the market's down about 10%. If the market's down about 10 to 15%, you're going to see 30 to 40% in your leading stocks. what we want to see now is we're just watching the ones to find some bases, and about half of them are gonna be leaders again, and then there's gonna be a new bunch, a new half that we've never seen before. So that's kind of how it goes, and then half we're never gonna see again for another 3 or 6 months. So
That's
uh,
exciting. You know, the only constant in life is change, right? So let's get that
yeah.
change out and let's get the new ones in.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. It kind of works in batches. It works in batches and it works in quarters as well. It tends to take the stocks that are basing now, that are finding lows now, are probably going to be hitting new highs in about 3 months. The stocks that are hitting new highs during this correction, when the market turns around, those are the stocks that are going to come back. It's the stocks that are just starting to break out as the market breaks out. Those are going to be your new leaders. So you would think, oh, the stocks that are really strong now. No, what's happening is people are chasing those returns, and so there's not a lot of out there, and they're going to be chasing those stocks higher. Some portfolio managers, some people that just have to trade, are following those stocks and are pushing them higher. And then once everything else starts breaking out, they pull their money out of those stocks and they start going back into the newer leaders that are starting to break out. So it's just typical rotation. It happens all the time. We just don't participate in those lower probability red zone breakouts. Anyhow, back to some stocks that are finding support. Carvana, finding support at a long-term VWAP. It sold off really hard. I mean, it's a vertical drop, and then it just found a wall for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Very similar pattern we're going to see across the board. Palantir finding support at a long-term VWAP, and it is actually very close to trading above its all-time high VWAP. I mean, if it trades up
Right.
3 days next week, it very well could flash a buy signal. When I would be surprised if it did, just simply because of the weight of the market. But this is an early potential leader. Same thing with Global E Online. Wicked, wicked sell-off here, but it too is
Wow.
finding nice support right at a long-term VWAP. Same thing with DraftKings. It's finding support at a long-term VWAP. Spotify is actually done. This is one of my favorite patterns. I call it a V snap. It's a touch and go. It trades wickedly right down to the VWAP, and then it just trades right back up. And it
Yeah.
quickly recovered its all-time high. So Spotify is showing some serious. It's like screaming at us, "Hey, I want to
Yeah.
go higher. I want to go higher." So it's
Just
got
just
it.
let me off the leash, you know,
Just
just
let me
let
go,
me
buddy.
go.
Let me go. So it's really amazing, especially when you zoom out a little bit and you just see the wicked run that Spotify is on. To see that
Yeah.
kind of strength is pretty exciting. So
Yeah.
the market might weigh it down. We'll see, but it's just got a little bit of run, a little bit of work here. Porch, I'm really excited about. This one just kind of showed up on the watch list. These I really like these kind of patterns. It's a long, deep first stage breakout. It's been trading underneath its all-time high VWAP for about 3 years, and it's just starting to live above that. It traded about sideways here about this period between what looks like $6 and $4 for about 9 months there, it looks like. No, about 3 months, excuse me. That's monthly, not quarterly. But anyhow, that's right around its all-time high VWAP. It blasted out, and it actually might have flashed a buy signal on Friday. Yeah, that would be a pretty good buy signal there. But anyhow,
Yeah.
this is one I want to watch for when we're in a green zone. I just it's just an interesting chart pattern. These tend to, when the market goes, it very well could end up back in its new all-time high territory, which was around 23. So it's currently at
Oh,
6. That's a pretty significant move.
no doubt.
Hymns, a wicked run up, went a little parabolic, sold off hard. It as well is finding really strong support at a couple of VWAPs here. I
Huh.
like seeing that there's two long-term VWAPs kind of right next to each other. It tried to find
Right.
support at the one, kind of sold down, but it also found support at the other. So there's some support there. That's all there is to say.
Life there, definitely.
TG Therapeutics. This is one of those biopharmaceuticals we were talking about that's showing some strength. It flashed a buy signal for us a couple of weeks ago. It didn't have some immediate follow through, but it's starting to pick up some pace. So we're seeing this a lot. I'm seeing a lot of these therapeutics. PTC Therapeutics, same thing, kind of starting to go up. And then same thing with PTGX. This is an interesting little pattern. It's got a really nice flag, wicked gap up, Strong move up. It's gone from 10 to where are we at here? 52, and it's just got this really kind of cool looking flag. So if this breaks out, that could very well be a very strong mover if you're into those kind of trades. That one's just a little. I just don't. I've been burned by biotechs too often, so that's kind of why I just lay off of those. And then same thing with EverQuote. EverQuote flashed a buy signal for us. Very interesting, kind of a similar pattern, a little bit of a flag, and now it's moving past beyond that.
Oh,
Another insurance kind of company. So the insurance companies and the biotechs have been really strong during this correction, which is pretty much what you would expect.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so that's it, Matt. That's the week in review. That's us moving forward. Just kind of the wait and see period right now. It's looking better. Every day we don't hit a new low is just more confidence that we're going to be moving towards a new high. It's just the
Exactly.
opposite, right? When we're in a bull market, every day we aren't hitting a new high, it just increases the confidence that we're going to sell off. So it's just the opposite. You know, it's upside down right now. It's the backward market because we're in a correction. So you got to think backwards. Is that even, I don't even think that's a word.
You
Anyhow.
just got to think upside down, you
Yeah,
know?
upside down. Yeah, yeah, upside down. It's like Stranger Things, the upside down. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, man, it's pretty fun. It's exciting. Doing some chart reading and we'll let's do a little video for our other subscribers for some patterns that we've seen and how do we know if it's going to be a good breakout or not, right? There's some similarities between some of the stocks that had some really strong breakouts and some that faltered. And so yeah, let's put a little bit of that together and do a video for some of our Patreon subscribers.
Yeah, well, so for those of you listening on Spotify or watching us here on YouTube, make sure you get over to our Patreon. That's patreon.com// Empire Algorithmic Trading, and you can get access to some of those educational videos. You also get access to our daily arrow signals, where before trading the next day, we tell you what our algorithm is showing us as potential breakouts or potential sell-offs. So that way you can get some of that information a little early and find some confidence in the market yourself. That's what we're looking for. Again, it's not telling you exactly what to do. We're just showing you what our algorithm is telling us. Otherwise, follow us, smash the subscribe button on Spotify, YouTube. Make sure to get over to us on Facebook, Instagram, all of our socials, X, Blue Sky, where we try to get in there a couple times a week, do some different content, some fun stuff, and just some shameless self promotion as well. So we just want to say thank you to everybody that's been following us on this journey so far. And that being said, Jace, as always, happy trading.
Happy trading, my friend. We'll talk to you in just a little bit.